What's going on, YouTube? We are back after a full soul-crushing work week to record a traditional YouTube video, and we're going to be going over the year 2023 and why I think it will be the best year for the Elder Scrolls Online to date. Now, some of you may be thinking that this is way too premature and that there's no way we can know, but to that I would say we can compare this year versus previous year's roadmaps and see which ones worked, which ones didn't, and why, based on what we have released so far, versus everything kind of going up to their release trailer on the 25th, that I'm extremely excited and confident that the Elder Scrolls Online for 2023 will be absolutely amazing. So confident, in fact, that I'm making a video on it, so if this ages poorly, then people can come back and write me comments in the future. But those of you who are in the present, this is just a friendly reminder that we are very close to 10,000 subscribers, and it would mean the world to me if you guys could help me get to that milestone. And as another reminder to please like the video, because this is going to be one of those ones where I stick my neck out and pray for the best. But I do have data to kind of go with this, and we have to start with the High Isle Legacy of the Bretons release. Now, unfortunately, 2022 did not do very well for the Elder Scrolls Online, and I can actually sum it up, unfortunately, pretty simply, and that is by comparing Tales of Tribute to other year-long expansions. Now, that might seem very weird. Why would I be comparing a card game to basically a whole nother expansion? But generally, every year they add one new feature. It could be companions, it could be the antiquity system, it could be the new class, it could be jewelry crafting. And why does Tales of Tribute fail against all of those other year-long expansion updates? And we're going to talk about that. So, antiquities. Antiquities obviously was added with the Western Skyrim, Dark Heart of Skyrim update, and was very well received. Why, you might be thinking, was Antiquities, which is essentially just an excavation video game like Fossil Fighters, how is that so much worse than a card game, which is just like, a dumbed down version of Magic the Gathering? How did those two things get compared against each other, and how did one do so well and one do so poorly? And the answer is actually not in the actual mechanics of the game, it's the rewards of the game. So ZeniMax played it very safe when they added Tales of Tribute. They probably felt like that they didn't want anything to be locked behind this card game. Because of that, there's no real mythicals, there's no new sets, there's no PvE rewards, there's no PvP items that you would take into Cyrodiil and be overpoweredly broken with. There's no mounts, there's no real good skins, there's really not a lot of reason to play the game. And that's where it suffers the most, because that's pivot to Antiquities. Antiquities has some of the best PvP mythicals. It leads you to get some of the best PvE mythicals. It's a great gold method. It's got great rewards in that you can get a mount. You can get great furnishing items. You can get a ton of unique rewards from this Antiquity system. And because of that, that expansion and year-long event was very well received, because something was in that update for everybody. And I think that's where 2022 failed, and is that there was not something for every single player. While there was, this amazing storyline that was added, there was a new trial that I thought was actually relatively fun. Besides that, and some quality of life things like the deconstruction assistant and the multi-rider mounts, there really wasn't a lot added. Because, yes, we had our new dungeons, we had our new prologues, we had new PvP rewards, but a lot of people will look at that and go, well, pretty much every year has those things. So when you have updates like the Northern and Southern Elsewhere, we got all of these, we got a lot of quality of life things, and we got a new class. When we had the Somerset update, we got jewelry crafting, which was massively changing of the structure of the game. You didn't have to go to the golden vendor or get on the leaderboards to get gold jewelry anymore. You can now farm jewelry crafting writs to make tons of money. It added writ books for jewelry crafting that completely changed like how easy or difficult it was to farm writ vouchers. There was something for crafters, there was something for PvP players, there was something for solo players, there was something for PvE endgame players, there's something for everybody. And that's a trend that you'll see when it comes to really good updates versus mediocre ones. versus unfortunately ones that were negatively received. Let's go from well received to mediocre. Blackwood. Blackwood, I think, was pretty good. I enjoyed the storyline. I think it was very cool. But again, think about what was added. Companions. Now, does a PvP player need a companion? No. Does a PvE player need a companion? I mean, not in a trial or a dungeon sense, but I guess if you're farming quests and whatnot, they're kind of helpful. So that's where you have something mediocre. Something that's good for solo players. Okay, for PvE content. Can't even be used for PvP content. And you get something that I would describe as okay. Not good. It's not bad. Just an addition. And I think that if you had something like Antiquities and Companions added in the same year, or Companions and some other class or some other new system, it would have been much more well received. But generally, ZeniMax gives us one big new change per year. And that's where I think we pivot to 2023 and why I'm most excited. And here we have the article going over the year of 2023 and ESO looking forward, where they highlight actually a lot of kind of what I was saying. And what their focus is going to be, I think, is massively important. Now, we've gone over this article quite a few times, so I'm just going to kind of go through it very quickly. However, what I would say that's not on here that is important to mention too is that they will also be fixing and upgrading the servers at the beginning of the year also. So on PC, they may be done by the time you're watching this video. On console, they will be done around the February-March time period for them to upgrade the hardware. So let's talk about the meat and potatoes. So it starts off relatively the same. We have a dungeon DLC. But here's already where it starts to get different. So they add in the complete storyline. That's our traditional new zone. But they're also adding one of the most requested new features, which people have either theorized, like myself, that will be a new class, or some people are saying that it's going to be a new skill line, such as spell crafting or other such thing. Let's just pretend it's either of those things. Either of those things. That's already an amazing improvement from last year, because unfortunately a very small fraction of the game would participate in a card game, but many much more players are going to already delve into either spellcrafting or a new class. Just pretend it's either or. Then we get a whole quarter of quality of life improvement and bug fixes. Now, the PvP community especially, if anyone's ever stepped foot into Cyrodiil and has played at 10 bajillion ping, I think ping is worse when the number's higher, they know that this is very helpful. Also, for those of you who ever want to know where the stigma from the non-combat pets, the stigma of the non-combat pets have actually knocked off my mic again, comes from, it's from the fact that people disconnect mid-trial because of people having, allegedly, this is all alleged, non-combat pets out. I do not drink the Kool-Aid. I think non-combat pets are innocent. I do wish that they would do other things, but I don't subscribe to the fact that non-combat pets are what's lagging everyone out. But that is something that both the PvP and the PvE endgame communities are very happy to see. Quality of life improvement and bug fixes. And then Q4. Now, this is important. We're getting another new system. Now, this is why I think that this year is going to be amazing, because we have a new feature and a new system. Now, you might think to yourself, Jake, yeah, but you don't know what those are. Here's the thing. I don't have to necessarily know what it is. I just have to know how many players it's going to affect. And that's where I think that this year is going to be amazing, because we're going to have features that everyone is going to get something for. While I think that High Isle's Zone story quest was amazing, I have to recognize that most people don't play the storylines. They don't do the side quests in the same way that I thought the card game was well done. But I looked at that reward structure and I thought to myself, what's the purpose? I love transmute crystals as much as the next guy, but I don't need any transmutes, and this is not an effective way to farm for transmutes. So that's where I think that it fell through. Now, if there was a completely different reward structure, I think that it would be much more well received, or at least more utilized. Right now, because I think they played it safe because they didn't want to force players to play a card game, that led to a situation where, well, only the people who enjoy the card game play it, but they're not really rewarded for playing it, because if they were rewarded too much, then other people who hated it would have to play it, and then they would be kind of doing a feature that they might not like. And so because of that, there's this very middle ground that was walked with that, unfortunately. So I think that we're not going to see that done again in 2023, because we're getting one of the most requested new features. It's got to be a class. I still strongly believe that it's going to be a class. It could be spellcrafting. I fully am reserved to being wrong. But regardless, it's going to be amazing. And then they basically have a whole Q4 on another new system. And I think that this is going to either be directly tied to the endgame PvE community or the PvP community. Regardless of which one it is, you will have had a year where you fix the hardware problems. You still got your traditional dungeon DLC. You still got your year of a new zone. You got a new feature in either a class or skill line or something other crazy, some other craziness. Then you got quality of life improvements and bug fixes, which is huge. To have a whole update on that will massively improve, I think, the operating systems for everyone that plays the Elder Scrolls. And then, just to add the creme de la creme, because I would argue that this is already a really good year, then you have this mysterious new system. And this is what's crazy, is it's a new system. Notice how this was a feature, this is a system. Now, that might seem still very vague, and it is, but this means that whatever it's going to be included in, and I think it will either be focused on PvP or PvE. I lean towards PvE because a lot of people that have been reaching out to the developers and requesting different changes and reward structures have been from the PvE community. So I do think that this is actually going to be a rework of some sort of PvE content, whether it's a completely new reward system, new leaderboard system, more challenges for doing trials and dungeons and leaderboards. I think that that's going to be focused on that aspect, or potentially both. But I think that's what it's going to be tied to. And I think that it's going to be very exciting regardless. And that's why overall I think that 2023 is going to be the best year, just because we're getting the most for the most amount of people. If you look at what makes the most amount of people happy, you just give everyone a little bit of something. You give the PvP players a little bit of something, the PvE players a little bit of something, solo players a little bit of something. People like me who enjoy things like furnishing, solo content, stupid things to do with their friends like 4-man content, give us something, give you guys something. Everyone that's watching this video right now enjoys specific types of features in the Elder Scrolls Online and probably doesn't really care about other ones, truthfully. So when I think that of successful updates, it's ones that impact all of us in some way positively. So that's why I'm so confident for this year, even though my cat has knocked my arm again and it's trying to swing into my face again. So this is the second time this has happened now, but I think it's just because I record when she's the most excitable. And I'm excited. I want you guys to also be excited. Plus two, why be sad, Isn't that what work is for? But as a reminder, obviously, to please like the video and subscribe. And if you'd like to be entered into our giveaway, here are the giveaway winners for the previous month. All you have to do to be entered into the month going forward is leave a comment. I pull 2 winners at the beginning of each month. I pull 1 subscriber comment and then 1 comment from everybody. It could be a positive comment. It could be a negative comment. It could be constructive. It could be inquisitor. It could be an intuitive comment. It could tell me that my audio sucks. The fact that I need to rebuild my mic arm again. It could be anything you want, as long as it's not considered a porn bot comment, because I still have to freaking delete those because they get held for review every freaking day. Those of you who have been on stream, you guys have probably seen them pop up just against my will. But that is going to wrap up the video. Let me know what you guys think. What are your guys' thoughts going into 2023? Excited, optimistic, nervous, scared, waiting to see what's going to happen, already made up your mind? Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys.
You better remember to like and subscribe to Jake Clips. Or you should. I might have to pluck your eyes if you don't. Or, better yet, I'll skip rope with your entrails. Do it now. Subscribe. Ta-ta. Off with you.
Our post-outro scene, I fixed the mic arm. Now, unfortunately, I was sitting a little far away from it there, but it's fixed. Thank goodness. But I thank you guys again. It's crazy to think that in a few weeks, months, that we'll be past 10,000 subscribers. I don't know what my next goal will be after that point. But we march on. We make the content that we want to make, and that you guys want to hear about. We talked a little bit about this on stream, and it's exciting. I am very excited, and especially after a soul-crushing week of work, it's nice to go back with a 3-day work weekend and not have any court hearings until next Friday. So, as court hearings are the most stressful part of my job, and I don't like them. People always act silly, because generally they're in court for a reason, and I have to talk a lot in court, so I have to tell them that they're being a silly goose, and people don't like to be called silly gooses in front of a judge. So I want to thank you guys again, and I'll definitely talk to you guys later. Bye, guys.